Hey, it's the Empire. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon for more videos. We taking over. Let's go, champ. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's go.
Hey, it's the Empire, Dubois Empire, back from boxing. Now, man, I know you guys see the thumbnail, man. I know you guys see Anthony Joshua, KELL Brooke, and Daniel Dubois. All these fighters at their peak of their career have quit, and we're going to talk about it, man. And we're going to talk about why the Daniel Dubois quitting was different from the Anthony Joshua quitting and KELL Brooke quitting. Now, let's talk my boy AJ. AJ got stopped and beat and quit against Andy Ruiz, right? Now, the guy got wobbled in the fight, and he got dropped multiple times, and ultimately, Anthony Joshua had no legs under him, and he really couldn't continue the fight. But he wasn't cut, and he could see perfectly fine. He just didn't want to continue because, of the pressure and the relentlessness of Andy Ruiz. That's what basically stopped them. It was a fight where Andy Ruiz, you can give Anthony Joshua round one, but after that, after Anthony Joshua dropped Andy Ruiz basically came back, and from there on out, when Andy Ruiz came back and dropped Anthony Joshua in the same round he got dropped in, he took control of that fight, right? Same thing with my boy KELL Special K Brooke. When he fought Errol Spence Jr., that fight was seemingly competitive, but I said it once and I said it again. KELL Brooke was going at a pace that far exceeded Errol Spence Jr.'s pace. While KELL Brooke was giving everything he had, he was giving 100% early. Errol Spence Jr. was on cruise control, going 70%, and he can maintain that 70% throughout the fight. That's what ultimately destroyed KELL Brooke, because KELL Brooke started too strong and he gassed himself out, and he basically got walked down and beaten slowly but surely, and he basically threw his gas tank out too early and just got beat down. And that fight, it was at a point where Errol Spence was controlling the fight. Now, in this Daniel Dubois fight, man, it was a completely different scenario, man. Daniel Dubois, in my opinion, was completely controlling the fight with Joyce. He was just getting hit consistently with a jab. Unfortunately for him, he just quit. He was winning the whole fight, in my opinion. I mean, you can give or take some rounds for Joyce, but I didn't have him winning more than 2 or 3 rounds in a round where Daniel Dubois stopped him around 10. So I didn't give him more than 3 rounds. I thought Joyce was landing a jab well, but he can't really show a full combination landed with Joyce. They're more one punch here, one punch there type things. Daniel Dubois was much more explosive. He was landing the better combinations. He was just getting hit, right? Now, that being said, man, Daniel Dubois, he did quit because he was completely dominating the fight, and there was no reason why he couldn't continue that fight, man. His eye was just closed, and he just mentally shut down because, he couldn't see, apparently. He couldn't see at one eye because it was swollen, That being said, man, all these other fighters, they had a reasonable excuse to quit. Those fights were much more competitive than the Daniel Dubois fight. I thought the guy who quit was winning the fight. KELL Brooke was not winning the fight when he got stopped by Errol Spence Jr. Anthony Joshua was definitely not winning the fight when he got beat and stopped by Andy Ruiz, who dropped him 4 times. So that being said, man, that's the major difference between Daniel Dubois and all these other UK elite fighters who stopped their fight, who got their fight stopped and basically quit. Well, they didn't basically quit, they quit. So yeah, man, it's wild stuff, man. Daniel Dubois, the problem with him is he had too many soft touches in his career, and he didn't really get the full thing. One could assume, and my speculation is, he had too much amateur experience or the sparring experience. A lot of Daniel Dubois' hype was built around him sparring people like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, and the rumors are Daniel Dubois dropped both of them. That being said, man, when people spar, man, they usually don't spar for 10 or 12 rounds. They spar 4-round fights. And my speculation is Daniel Dubois was going all out in those 4 rounds. And the problem is, that's only 4 rounds. It's not a full 10 or 12 round fight. And in this case, Daniel Dubois and Joyce fought 10 rounds. or 12 rounds. I'm sorry, 12 rounds. So yeah, it's easy to look good in 4 rounds because you can go all out because you know you don't got much time left. In this fight between Joe Joyce and Danny Dubois stayed looking at the clock to see how much more time he had left in this fight. The duration of this fight definitely affected how the fight was gonna play out. In my mind, I extremely doubt if this is a 10-round fight that Danny Dubois would have quit in round 10. You know, I extremely doubt it. You know, do you really think he would have quit in round 10 if he knew he had 40 something seconds left? I don't think so. So this is really a fight where mentally Danny Dubois couldn't go past a certain limit, and he probably needs to work on his conditioning, man, because there was times in this fight where he couldn't land his explosive punches and he basically slowed down. He wasn't able to land those big punches, so he got I wouldn't call it shotgun shy, but he just didn't want to expend too much energy. But at the same time, he became, if it was 0 to 100. If he wasn't trying to knock you out, he wasn't really trying to box too much. The problem with Danny Dubois is he couldn't just get in his back foot and box off a jab. He couldn't do that, and he should have did it more. Danny Dubois pushed the pace to the point where when you're running at someone and you miss and he lands punches, you're basically running into a punch, which is doubling the effect of the punch, i.e. a counter punch. If you're running forward trying to stop the guy and you're exploding on a guy and you miss and he hits you with a power punch, well, that's double the effect because you're running forward and you're trying to hurt him and he's leaping in with a power punch, which was George Joyce was doing the whole fight. He was making Danny Dubois miss and countering him with power shots. Ultimately, if Danny Dubois just boxed more, those shots wouldn't have hurt so much because he'd be moving backwards. And Danny Dubois made it really easy on George Joyce by coming forward because George Joyce isn't exactly the fastest guy in boxing. And I think if Danny Dubois boxed more, he would have had a better chance of not getting hit as much because it's harder to hit a moving target than it is to hit a target coming forward at you. You can't really miss someone walking to you because he's walking to you. So yeah, man, I mean, Danny Dubois, he's gonna have to have a lot of soul searching here. I'm not too sure if he's gonna stay domestic level or he's gonna just go straight to the wolves. But beating a bum in his next fight is not really gonna do anything for his career. He might have to do it to get his confidence back, but we're gonna see it, man. But he needs to fight someone, and I'm not talking about a top guy in the UK. He needs to fight someone who's actually somewhat dangerous, known in America, because Danny Dubois had a lot of international attention. A lot of American fans were really hardcore boxing fans are really interested in Danny Dubois, and he really failed. I probably gotta make a whole nother video about that because it's extremely rare to have a guy. Danny Dubois was getting a lot of buzz in America before he had 10 wins, and now that he took that L in the way he did, it definitely hurt his international brand because they're building this guy up to be on par with the Dillian Whites and Anthony Joshua's and Tyson Fury's because of the sparring stories. So with that being said, man, his team and Frank Warren, they got a lot to do to rebuild and rebrand Danny Dubois. Anyway, man, let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Do you guys think those quits from Anthony Joshua and KELL BROOK is different from Danny Dubois? I do think so, man. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though, man. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Dubois Empire. This. Dubois Empire.